All right, everyone, and welcome back again to another Appreciating Comic Book Art video. This time we're looking at Sam Kieth's Maxx. And I believe I have something pulled up here that is uh, issues 1 through, I forgot to look, honestly, but it's got a ton of issues. We're not going to go through everything for the sake of the length of the video, but I really have been wanting to do a video on Sam Kieth for a while because he's got such a unique style, all his own. It's just one of those styles that really stands out when you see it. It's all going all the way back to the Marvel Presents books that he did. Man, all the stuff he did before he got into Marvel. He's done some interesting things. He's a hell of an illustrator, a great painter, as you can see here. Like this painted pinup cover, whatever you want to say, of the Maxx, and just an awesome character. Well written. Uh, I don't know if he was a first-time storyteller or what. I mean, I guess he wasn't because he did a lot of independent books. So um, William Messner Loeb's doing the script was great on this. It was a very unique book for Image. Of all the superhero stuff, you had books like Spawn that kind of was a little bit different than the superheroes because that was a little bit more of a horror book. And then you had stuff like the Maxx, which was, I don't know, part hero, part horror, part psychological, all in one. It was just a great book. And the art, this is one of those things, like I've been saying I do a lot of Image books on here because it was really what got me into comics when I was a kid. And there was just such an explosion of expression when people got to Image and they could do what they wanted without the comics code, without editors really holding them back, and they just put it out there. Sure, there were some stories that maybe don't hold the test of time, or they don't like really pull you in if you're just really into the story of comic books. But the art, the page layouts, the dynamics that go into everything was all there in early Image. And that's one thing I'll always really appreciate about these books. There was something that just sucked the imagination out of you and put you right into these books. It's a great shot there, the Maxx. And Sam Kieth was really great at he had a lot of detail, but not that much detail, if that makes sense. Like you look at here and like this is just basically a shape. Not a lot of detail, but it fades into what really brings your eye into like all the detail of the muscle, the detail on the boots, the folds in the costume. So he had a really great way of directing your eye to what was really going to pop. Again, this, I would venture to say this was probably a page that he himself probably painted or watercolored for the book. I'm not sure. I should have looked to see who did the colors. I completely skipped that because this was just one of those books that everything about it was unique, including the colors. A lot of use of white, especially when he's in the outback here in the dream world. It just, again, white, like I've said before, makes things pop. I don't know why modern colorists don't lean more into that white to really push the picture out. But they did it a lot in the 90s, and I think we're all better for it. Heavy shadow book, much like Pit issue 1, books like Spawn, Savage Dragon issue 1 of the ongoing series leaned really heavy into the hard shadows. I'd venture to say that might be very Frank Miller inspired, Sin City like, but don't quote me on that. I'm just looking at it. I'm judging that by just how I'm seeing the art itself come out. Like this book was had a lot of heavy subjects. A lot of, as a young kid, you're reading for the first time about basically sexual assault in this book, even though it's not really shown, but it's like heavily hinted to. I mean, a scene like this was just, as a kid, you're reading that, you're like, what the hell? Yeah, Image really pulled no punches with the stuff they want to do. Now, this is crazy, my friends. This is absolutely crazy to have that many panels on a page. Like, that's something you you have to want to do. I doubt that he was just reading a script and it's like, we're going to have, 20 panels or how many are, I'm not actually counting, I'm just guessing, like on here, 18 panels. That had to be something that's like, you know what, I feel like drawing 18 panels today. I'm going to do it. I wouldn't recommend it. I would not want to do it, but in this comic book, it works. And it really, gives a sense of like a claustrophobic feel as he's going through this alleyway. Another thing like story dynamic, storytelling, scene wise, what are you trying to convey in this scene? You got this little, shit, I can't remember what that's called, going through this alley, just squeezing through, and you have these small panels to show it all. So you got that claustrophobic feel, especially after coming off of a page like this, which is a lot more of a free, and you can see how the panel before it progressively starts to get smaller and smaller to this size. Things to keep in mind for young storytellers. If you can break away from doing the grid, and you can go to more dynamic panels and you bring the panels into the story, that to me is all the better, especially for an artist looking at how other artists do storytelling. This, for example, you got 2 standard panels, and now we're following this. Man, it's really ticking me off that I can't remember the name. It's been a while since I read this book too. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out later. But you're following this guy as he's falling, fall, splat. Maxx jumps, and just how the panels fall off, with that chaos, is just expertly done. And Sam Kieth always made these crazy characters. Everybody had pot bellies. Like nobody was really in shape. Even Maxx, was like overweight, even though he had a lot of muscles. So it was just, very not representation of like the superhero world, which made it all the more interesting. We'll keep going here a little bit. I think we're doing decent on time. We'll look at issue 2. Yeah, I'm sure anybody that's watching this video is watching it because they're a fan of the Maxx, they're a fan of Sam Kieth. You're probably a fan of the MTV cartoon that came out that basically just motionized, if that's a word, the comic itself, which made it even better because it captured the feel of the Maxx, using some actual like panel work along with top-notch animation at the time. It's just fun action. Again, crazy page layouts, but it all works because it fits the book. And that's another thing too. If you're gonna do crazy page layouts, panel work, all that kind of stuff, like stuff like this, it's all gotta fit the story. It's got to have a purpose to it. Otherwise, it's gonna look just random. I don't think you want it to look random. Like you want it to have a purpose to the book. If you're gonna do panel work like that, panel work like this. It's just bringing your attention to the doll, everything that's going on with the story. If you read it, everything's drawing your eyes to the places where he wants the reader to go. Cruise through here a little bit. Yeah, just wonderful work. I don't know what Sam's doing now. I know he re-released this, I think, through who did he release it? It was re-released. Was it DC? I don't think it was DC. It might have been, because I know he did a Maxx Batman crossover in the more recent years. It was all right. I mean, just, I like Sam Kieth's art, so I checked it out, but there's just something special about this character, this book, at the time he did it, that to me will always hold a special place in my heart. Much like all the books from this era, because that's when I was a kid. That's the stuff that made me want to be a comic book artist. Like, these are the things that excited me. It's like you're looking at stuff like this. I'd never seen it before, especially coming off of books like Spider-Man and X-Men in the early 90s, and then really getting into the Image craze and just seeing how they were just allowed to use their imagination even more without anybody holding them back. This was one of my favorite drawings for some reason of the Maxx. It's just powerful. There was just like an awesome sense. Um, again, I heard somebody say before that these little guys are what inspired Mark Silvestri to do the Darklings for the darkness. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that these guys came first. Oh, there you go, darkness. Coincidence? Probably, but still. The imagination or the nightmares that Sam Kieth must have had to draw to pour all this stuff out into a page. Yeah, I would not want to be inside his head. But he did create some cool stuff for us to all take in and look at. So if you get a chance, collect the Maxx. If you haven't, do it. If you haven't read it in a while, get back to it. Refresh yourselves because it's a fun book with fantastic art, a very unique style. So I'm gonna end it there. I don't want this video to go too long, but that's a very classic Sam Kieth shot, and I think this might be something to start in the next story arc or whatever. And again, this whole digital aspect I think it's got like a ton of the Maxx books on here, so I'm not going to go through everything. But all right, guys, the Maxx, Sam Kieth, great artist. Again, awesome 90s flavor here that I'll probably be leaning into a lot because that's where my love is. So if you like this video, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit that bell for notifications. I also have another channel called Art and Stuff that I have with my co-host Sean Arendt, where we have a show every Friday night at 8:30, where we have independent creators. We also have bigger names that come on, like Brett Booth, John Malin, Dan Fraga, Billy Tucci, Marat Michaels, and we just talk about comics. We talk about the industry. We talk about people's projects. Very big supporter of independent comics, as you know, if you've been following this for a while. I have my own book coming out, hopefully this year, called Reaper Destroyer. There's the cover art for it. Be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be crowdfunding, hopefully in July. If not July, then sometime in the fall. So until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you all later. Peace.